No.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm Coach Brian Parana. Today we're talking with Taylor, and he is a busy entrepreneur, has a young family, a little one on the way, and we are dealing with some health issues. And so let's jump in, and hopefully you get some inspiration, some insights, and some clarity on why you should take better care of yourself. So, Taylor, let's take it away. Like, who are you, and what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a marketer, and also have a young family, like you mentioned. I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetic or diabetes about 2 years ago now, and it was a real shock. And so really have been looking for ways to manage that the last 2 years. And a lot of health challenges that way of trying to control weight as well. And so that's when I reached out and found Brian and have really improved how to manage my diabetes. So that's been great.
That was a big one. And for people who don't know, like type 1 is something that your body ceases to produce insulin, whereas type 2, it's more of an onset of, lack of better putting it, is just like taking poor care of yourself, bad nutrition habits, you're not moving, you're eating sugary foods or processed foods more so. That can definitely lead you, whether you are overweight or not, you can still end up with type 2 diabetes that way. So, but we're dealing with type 1, so he has to take insulin, and he has a continuous blood glucose monitor. That's something that's like, you might see someone has like a patch, something on their arm to talk with their phone now. It's a convenience of modern technology, but that's what we're dealing with. So, coming in, what was your blood sugar levels when we started?
Yeah, my 90-day average was about 186. So the main goal working with Brian was to get that down. And in about 2 months, saw my averages go down to 132.
Right,
So quite, like a 52-point drop in that average
right.
blood sugar levels, which was really my goal and what I was going for. So, um, yeah, it was fantastic.
And we didn't just lean in on insulin, units of insulin either, right? We actually used food to help manage, and you had to constantly lower the amount of insulin that you were using.
Yeah, exactly. Like the more I was moving, working out, the better I was eating, especially like getting like my macros dialed in. I feel like that's when started to be able to decrease the amount of insulin I was able to, or that I had to take as well. Um, so yeah, that was an unexpected result, but something that was really beneficial.
Right. Much better doing it the way we have than just relying on, like, well, I'm just going to put 30 units of insulin in because my blood sugars are here. Right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what kind of got me in this situation was when I first got diabetes, I was just eating a lot of fat and eating a lot of foods that I didn't have to take insulin for. And that obviously caused my weight to go up and to increase over time. And so one of the big things that we worked on together was like it's great to eat it's good to eat carbs, even if you do have to take insulin. You just have to manage those macros and make sure you're getting enough of the protein, getting enough carbs as well. But still being able to manage that blood sugar and weight control. I mean, that was huge for me.
Right. Right. And uh one thing, we did eat carbs, right? And for you, now he's talking about macros, those are macronutrients. I see food as calories, protein, carbs, and fats, and that's really what it is. Whether you think something healthy or not, that's really debatable, right? You ask 10 people if something's healthy, they'll give you 10 different answers. So we don't want to rely on that. We want to rely on nutrition labels, nutrition facts, and understanding better food choices, food combinations that work for you in your situation. So that's what he's saying by macros. So for Taylor, because we were managing type 1 diabetes, and it's important for him to understand his carbohydrate loads per meal, we chose to do some tracking. If someone else doesn't have diabetes, then we do other ways too than just tracking it. But for you is really important. So we saw the numbers, we collected data, we made adjustments based on what we saw there. Now, how does all this blend in with the busyness of everything you've got going on? Because there's a couple of times we had our conversations on the road as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's getting to a point where you realize that you have options, and it's more of you have to be prepared and to plan. So if I know I'm going out on the road and we'll be gone for 3 days, it's I'm supplementing with protein drinks or beef jerky or like finding food that I can access on the road so that it's when things are a little bit more out of my control, I can still plan and be prepared ahead of time. Having that game plan going in was, it was a bit of a learning curve, but it was
Sure.
really beneficial for me to be able to do that.
Right. We learn in the beginning so that we can just do it later on, just like anything in life, right? Going into the gas station now isn't this like, whoa, what's the deal? What strikes my interest or what looks fun? Like you have a plan you can go execute on. And there's a number of times you're driving different places, whether it was family vacation, right? You drove to Disneyland, or
Mhm.
you were in Florida for another separate business trip and stuff, so you could go to the store opening of the marketing you're doing for them and have a launch party with them and not feel just left to whatever was available. You had a much better game plan for that. So
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely. Like instead of having all of the sweets and everything at that party, I remember eating a lot of shrimp because I know that's high in protein and got me through got me through that party. And I felt great afterwards. I didn't feel like I compromised any of my goals.
yeah, definitely. You still had a good time too, right?
Great
Uh,
time. Yeah, that's the best thing is it's just all choices and like even if it's having an ice cream at Disneyland, like that's a choice. It just means you have to kind of cut some other things out or walk
yeah.
or work out even more. So it's all
Uh,
choices.
Definitely. And we found a moderation and balance, especially with the young family. So where is your family at, right? You have one almost like on the way. What's the how old's the other one?
Yeah, so I have a 2.5-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have one coming or another daughter coming next month. So yeah, exciting and busy.
That is a lot in your world, right? Sleep, diapers, all that stuff that you have to manage. And the cool thing is that we've been empowering you to not only manage your blood sugar levels, but eat healthier food, have it more readily available. You're a business owner, so systems really resonate with you, and that's what we did. We found better systems, and these things can be applied to obviously you, but then your family. You don't want 10 years from now your kids just being addicted to, like goldfish crackers, chicken tenders, and mac and cheese and french fries or something, and that's the only thing they're going to eat. You want them to have that broad palette of food, and you can do it when they're young and really get them to enjoy vegetables and stuff, so
Yeah,
they don't
absolutely.
have issues. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I've got
absolutely.
4 kids, and I know that I want them to be happy and healthy, especially as they leave me, right? They're like middle school age right now, so 14 to 9. In a decade, I want them to be thriving, not overweight, self-esteem's and not good. They can't quite get the job or do the things that they want in life because they're holding themselves back. And like say body weight is a struggle for them, or they
Yeah,
just don't have energy because they keep eating poor food choices or something. So,
absolutely.
what were you doing before we started working together?
So I would try to track, but it was mainly like off and on, and not like it was hard to get in the habit of that. And
Mm,
like I said, I was eating a lot of fat. I wasn't really um, paying attention to like the macronutrients that we've talked about and that we've learned about. So it was mainly like I'm sure there were some days where my calorie intake was on point, and like my movement and like working out was great. But I was eating 100 grams of fat or more than that because again, I was trying to avoid taking so much insulin. And so finding that balance, um, when we worked together, that was the real key for me, is being able to dial in, like, instead of like a half a cup of almonds for a snack, twice a day, where it's really high in fat, finding other things for me that fit in, to my, like, to not slow me down. So I'm not having to like cook every meal, but also being able to, have options like that.
Right. Right. And we found, plan A's, plan B's even in there. So you had lots of different ways to create uh, this process for you. What was it that like got you like motivated? Certainly the diabetes was there, a young family. Was there any one thing that really like got your why to be like, okay, like I got to get this handled now?
Um, Honestly, it was, just wanting to play some defense against like health challenges. Like I've seen family members go through, um, who have diabetes, later in life, and just how restrictive it is, and how, you know, restrictive other health challenges that they've had are. And I just did not want to end up in the same boat. And so it's like I'm 29, like I'm not facing any current health challenge. I can still like, I play basketball 3 times a week. I go on a hike, whatever. But I didn't, I was more of a defensive play of like, I want to be there when my kids are older, want to be able to do these things for a longer amount of time, rather than just give everything up in my 30s, 40s, 50s. Like, I want to be able to do the things I want to do for the rest of my life.
Right. And that's huge play because with diabetes, you literally could lose your foot
Yeah.
or if it's not done and managed well, unfortunately. And with the convenience of our modern society, modern food, marketing, and getting product to sell, what do we have? Simple, cheap, carbohydrate driven or fatty driven food choices. And if you don't have plans, you're going to potentially just keep your blood sugar levels up and just end up with more meds, right? If the doctor, you go back to the doctor and it was creeping toward 200 on your average blood sugar, what are they going to do? Here's more units of insulin
Mhm.
because that will be a direct impact right now on your blood sugars to get them more managed. And of course, like doctors want you to eat better and all that, but their job is to like triage the situation right then and there. And so you were looking for other approach. Now, why was what we did different, or like why did it work? Like what was the one, two, maybe three things that really connected the dots, right? Because you talked about managing the carbs and understanding how to fit them in, or having better plans when you're doing other things in life, like travel and such. But for you, what was it?
Yeah, for me, I've tried a variety of different things, and diets and cutting things out and not eat, like making sure I don't eat certain things. And what really built the success off this program for me, was that I could still eat anything I wanted. It was just all about choices. And so it was less about like a do's and don'ts, and more of like, hey, yeah, this is great. If you want to, eat that, you're just going to have to account for it somewhere else. And so, um, trying all of these different diets and restrictions and everything, it would never really work out because I would stick with it for a week or two, and then I would be back to just eating how I normally ate. And so this was more of a lifestyle habit, a lot slower changes. Like for me, like, I wasn't losing as much weight as if I went on like a 2 week, like all out diet kind of thing. But this has definitely been more sustainable, and that's what I've, really appreciated about it, is it's changed my habits, changed my lifestyle, and kind of given me the tools to make this like it's scalable. It's not just kind of a flash in the pan kind of thing.
Right. I totally agree, and that's what we do. When I first talked to you, I said what we do in the next 2 weeks, we're going to continue in 2 months, in 2 years, so on and so forth. So we build these sustainable habits. Even if you spent the rest of your 29th year getting your body and your health in order, you got a long way to go. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And so like it's going to be transferable for decades to make sure that you can live life, you can celebrate birthdays and travel and grandkids at some point and whatnot, and not let diabetes take over your life, because it can definitely park itself in your front living room, so to speak, and occupy a lot of your space all of a sudden. So well,
Yeah.
Taylor, if you were, what would you tell someone if they're watching this, listening, that like they're a business owner, like they're busy working professional, trying to juggle all the things in their life, whether they had diabetes or not, but they wanted to take, like they have their business going on, but they need their body to match pace with that so they can kind of like really enjoy life to the fullest. Cause I mean, that's why you work hard to play hard. So,
Yeah.
what would you tell someone that they're kind of watching this in the place you started?
Yeah, for one, I mean, I know that there are a lot of like health things out, like fads and things trying to grab your attention and being pulled in a lot of different directions, as you're looking into making changes in lifestyle. I'll say that this really worked for me as a, busy professional just because I was able to fit this into my schedule and it wasn't like something like a crazy juice diet where you have to drink some certain supplements at certain times, or like, hey, you can never have bread ever again, or like some of these crazy things. It was mainly like um, tailored to my specific lifestyle already, and it's just making small changes. I think I was surprised the most about just making small tweaks and changes, like not a complete life overhaul could get me to reach my goals. And so, one, I would think like you have to kind of take account into what you're currently doing. Um, but then two, yeah, like have some sort of program like this where you're just making those small life changes and slowly changing those habits and recognizing those habits. Um, but it was a little bit easier than I initially thought it was going to be. It just takes time and patience and consistency. It's like it truly is a marathon. It's not like you're running a 5K or anything.
You didn't get to your spot. Most people didn't get to where they are in a marathon or in a sprint. It took them quite a while to accumulate weight and habits and behaviors. And some people take a little bit longer than others to unwind some of those things that they've deeply entrenched themselves. And let's think of this, like you as a marketer, are you making big sweeping changes all the time? Are you making small tweaks to keep refining the process and tweaking and adjusting where you're getting the feedback from to then get the bigger return on, like a ROI, right? Money in and money
Yeah.
back. So,
Rapid iterations. Yeah. Just like tweak and test all the time. So,
yep, exactly, right? So that's exactly it. So, all right, excellent. Then that's what I have for you. I have really appreciate you coming on here and sharing our progress. We've done just amazing with managing blood sugars. We've gotten down weight. We've been able to maintain this in a long-term sustainable way that works with your family as well. Being a young family, like you've got the next 10 years is going to be a whirlwind with activities and sports and school and all family vacations and all that. And so it's so important that you have these skill sets that we talked about for a long-term success. So I'm looking forward to hearing like how things continue to go as you keep me updated. And if someone, Taylor's message resonated with you, reach out. I'm pretty easy at brianparana.com, on my socials, Coach Brian Parana. I would be more than happy to start a conversation and help see how I can help you as well. So Taylor, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for the hard work, focus, and effort that we put in to make this work really well for you.
yeah,
Have a great
appreciate
day.
it. Yeah.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you.